I think that it's such a good forum to be able to talk about serious things in a rom-com, because there's so many reasons to watch that movie and bring everybody in. And actually, if you said, I want to make a movie about infertility, and it's only a very, very small part of the movie, but it's ever so important. If you said, I want to make a movie about infertility, you would expect there to be scrubs, gowns, sort of dark hospital setting, miserable movie. And as I can tell you quite honestly, that was my experience. It's what I had been through. And so I felt really strongly that it was important to bring it into the movie, because when you go through those things, it doesn't have to be everything in your life, and actually to kind of smuggle it into another story allows it to be something that we just talk about and normalise, rather than putting it somewhere outside. And really this movie is about regular people who have very normal experiences, have broken up, they've got a sad dog, but to have a reason for that is worth exploring, and so people feel able to have those conversations and put it out there in public without having to be a big clanging theme, I felt was really important. But it is tough, and when Anna talks about seeing her uterus and it being empty, that, like, for me, that was a really, really memorable experience of thinking, the only time I'd ever seen that on screen before, kind of the black and white picture with the triangle shape, was when people had shown me a picture of their pregnancies. And then suddenly when you're the person who's lying there and it's literally empty, it was really shocking. And I had so many conversations about that with other people after that had happened to me, and then thought, well, if you put that in the movie, there'll be so many people in the audience that go, oh, that's my story too. But you know what? It's got a happy ending. And really, most importantly, these guys come out of it having dealt with that, and they have a dog. In fact, they might have a couple of dogs, spoiler alert, but just to say, you can have a happy life and a happy ending without, and acknowledge that we go through those sorts of trials. That was really important.
One thing I remember about that was that we had to shoot Dog Beach like the first 2 weeks, and it still wasn't properly summer yet. And so we were freezing on the Dog Beach, and then we did all the Christmas wintry stuff like mid-July or whatever it was.
And it was so hot.
We had
super hot.
a lot of clothing, a lot of warm clothing, and we were dying.
That one scene, actually, the scene we were talking about, and as an aside, I just wanted to add that, one of the reasons why I love this film was that I really love romantic comedies that really have an element of some more serious topics that are woven in. Some of my favorite rom-coms have that, and I think it just adds depth that makes you really connect with the film even more. So I love that. But that scene, that's the really big scene on the beach at night, there were hurricane force winds. It was the craziest thing. My dress kept flying fully up. Yeah. No one knew what to do. And I was like, give me a needle and thread. And I tied my front of my dress to my back of my dress. I sewed it and
too tight.
Sewed it to the back of the dress so that it wouldn't fly out. We were improvising, not the words, but improvising nonstop to just deal with the wind. They couldn't even have a lot of the lights up because it was dangerous. Yeah.
That's why it's so dark and moody. And in fact, that scene in the script was never set so late at night in the early days. And then as the schedule changed because of the weather, it got later and later. And we actually said, it's one of the it's like a pathetic fallacy. This moment of great darkness in what's otherwise quite a light story happens to, it's really convenient for us. And we shoot it really late at night. So, yeah.
I'm going to say Meet Me in St. Louis when Judy Garland sings Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. That's actually a romantic comedy story set at Christmas that has sad elements, and it's a really sad time in the story. And she sings that song and it's breaks your heart.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I'm going to say a movie which I feel like is a Christmas movie because it's something that we all love to watch together, even though it's not set at Christmas or remotely Christmassy, if I can have that.
Yes.
Which is Emma Thompson's brilliant Sense and Sensibility, because it's such a great family movie. And for me, the moment at the end where she bursts into tears and can't speak and has, pouring everything is the most romantic and wonderful scene, and she is so stellar in that. And I feel like even though it's not technically a Christmas movie, there's something very kind of oldie worldy about Jane Austen, and that's a lovely thing for a Christmas get together.
I love that.
Very good. We watched every year in my household. We would watch White Christmas.
Oh.
With Frank Sinatra and the likes. Is it called
Rosemary Clooney?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I've probably seen that movie more than any other film because we watch it every single Christmas. Oh. And then the bit at the end where it's the iconic moment at the end where they bring in the captain, they convince him to put on his army uniform, and they bring him in, and his whole platoon are there as a surprise. Is that's probably my favourite moment.